Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, I think last time you heard my voice was last Tuesday. Was out last Thursday. I had a couple of personal issues I had to take care of, but nonetheless, here I am. And you're probably thinking, wait, this is a Tuesday, Thursday show. All right, why am I hearing you? And good news is you'll be hearing me every day because now we're moving the football podcast to Monday through Friday. Obviously, you get the college football edition with Tom on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I believe. But as far as the football edition of the GSMC football podcast, you will be getting that every day. So you get to hear my lovely voice Monday through Friday. Yes, I know. You're excited. So am I. All right. We're also doing the same with the GSMC Sports Podcast. So if you listen to that one also, yes, you could hear me Monday through Friday. All right. But nonetheless, here we are. It is Monday. It is May 21st. OTAs are starting up. Tom Brady's not there. But that's not really what the show's going to be about today. All right. On Tuesday, we did AFC East team talk. All right, I thought, Jesse, who should you talk about today? I think we did AFC East. Why don't we head over to the NFC and do NFC East? Okay. All four teams have plenty for me to talk about. Okay, the Redskins, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. Okay. And, I mean, NFC East is going to be a very interesting division. All right, last year, the Redskins, and that's who we're going to start off the show with, okay? Last year, the Redskins went 7-9. They weren't a great team by any means, but they still pulled off 7 wins with the squad that they had. They lost Kirk Cousins, but let me tell you this. I think that the Redskins got better, okay? Looking at their draft, their new quarterback, I like what they got going on there, okay? Fact of the matter is, Redskins could end up making the wild card this season. Okay. I know it's way too early to talk about that because we haven't hit training camp yet, and we're pretty much just going to do this show how we did Tuesdays, where we're looking at the team's draft, talking about some storylines, and then picking the games of their schedule and stuff like that, wins, losses. So we're going to be doing that. But nonetheless, like I said, we're going to do that for the Redskins in the first segment. Second segment, we're going to talk about the New York Football Giants. Third segment, we're going to talk about America's team or America's former team. I don't know, are the Cowboys still America's team or is that now the Patriots? All right. I still like to think it's the Cowboys. All right. I understand that the Patriots are the New England Patriots, all right? Red, white, and blue and all that. But nonetheless, I mean, if we look at the ratings and all that for the NFL games, I guarantee that the Cowboys probably have, maybe if you go top 10 games, Cowboys probably have about 7 or 6 of them. Okay. Cowboys, for some reason, just get eyeballs to the TV. All right. Whether it hits that yearly Giants-Cowboys Sunday night football game or anything else. All right. And I'm almost positive we do have to have a Sunday night football game between the Giants and Cowboys this year, right? I mean, that's pretty much it's almost as big as a tradition as the Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving, is us getting a Giants-Cowboys Sunday night game. All right. But nonetheless, and it's usually a home game for the Cowboys too, I've noticed. Or is it? I have to double check that. But nonetheless, like I said, that's how the show's going to go. We're going to talk about the defending Super Bowl champs last in this show because the fact of the matter is, I mean, they're the team who's best set up right now. There's not really too much going on in Philly. All right? Only question is, when's Carson Wentz going to be healthy? All right, so we'll be talking about them in the fourth segment. Like I said, we'll talk about Dallas in the third, the Giants in the second, and then the Washington Redskins right now. All right, so let's get into it. Let's look at their draft. Okay, round 1, they take Darren Payne, defensive tackle out of Alabama. No problem with that pick at all. Okay, I like it. My favorite pick, though, is Darius Geis, running back out of LSU in the second round. The Redskins have had talent at the running back position. Okay, Rob Kelly was cool for a season. Chris Thompson was tearing up the league last year, and then he got hurt. But that's the thing right there. Rob Kelly's been hurt. Chris Thompson's got hurt. And it seems like any running back that's gone through that franchise the last few years has gotten hurt. They really haven't had that set guy. I think Darius Geis is going to become that bell cow back. Actually, not bell cow back, because that's pretty much, the NFL's kind of gotten away from that. But nonetheless, he's going to be the starting running back for this team come week 1. All right, Chris Thompson, when he's all healed up and ready to go, will be out there. He will not be playing as much, but nonetheless, he'll be out there like on third down situations, I believe. Okay. I saw a few draft analysts, NFL writers, scouts, throwing out there that, you know what? Saquon Barkley is great, but Darius Geis could be better as far as a prospect. Okay? And Darius Geis falling so far in the draft seemed to be because the league thought he maybe, like the teams thought he had like an attitude problem possibly. Like I saw like some crazy story about him getting angry during a meeting or something like that, but it seems like that wasn't really true. I'm not too sure. All right, but it seems like there was some attitude problems, but nonetheless, I think those were a bit overblown. Okay? Darius Geis has had a pretty weird offseason if you've paid attention to it, as far as questions he's been asked, as far as storylines surrounding him. Okay? But nonetheless, I like that pick. I love that pick. Like I said, I think that was my favorite pick for the Redskins this year. Third round, they go Jaron Christian, offensive tackle out of Louisville. Troy Apke, safety out of Penn State in round 4. Tim Settle, defensive tackle out of Virginia Tech, round 5. Rounds 6, they take Sean Dion Hamilton, inside linebacker out of Alabama. You can never go wrong picking Alabama or linebackers from Alabama either. They produce the best linebackers and the best offensive linemen. Round 7, they go Greg Strauman, cornerback out of Virginia Tech, and then Trey Quinn, their last pick in the 7th round, wide receiver out of SMU. All right. So as far as the draft goes, I mean, my favorite pick obviously was the Geis one. I think he's going to be a day 1 starter for them, and I think he's going to be very good for them. Okay? Probably going to be the best running back they've had since Clayton Portis. All right? And that was quite some time ago. Alfred Morris was a nice little story for them when he came out. Had a couple of good seasons, but nonetheless, I mean, never really got it going consistently enough, I guess, for them to keep him. All right. The Redskins also the last few years have had some very good quarterbacks. Okay? If they would have took care of their field, chances are RG3 is still playing for that team. Okay? And if they had any plan or any clue whatsoever in that front office, chances are Kirk Cousins is still the quarterback for that team. Nonetheless, they're both gone. Okay? But do not fear. Alex Smith is here. All right? And Alex Smith, people don't really like him too much as a quarterback. Okay? He's got the whole game manager, short down type, or short yardage type quarterback thing. And I think that, yeah, at one point, sure, that was him. But I feel like he's gotten away from that. We need to start giving Alex Smith his respect. Okay? We really do. Alex Smith is a... Do I want to say Alex Smith is a top 10 quarterback in this league? I think we're going to have to go through and check. I think we might just have to. All right, let's see. Let's go through the league right here. All right, so the NFC East. What quarterback am I taking over him? Carson Wentz. Okay, as I'm talking about players right now. Okay, right now the way they play. I'll take Carson Wentz over him. I'll take Alex Smith over Dak Prescott. I'll take him over Eli right now. NFC North. I will take Stafford. I will take Rodgers. And sure, I'll take Kirk. South, I'll take Ryan. I will take Breeze. And I'll take Cam. Yeah. That's already 7 quarterbacks. NFC West, Russell Wilson. That's it. I'll take him over Goff and Garoppolo right now. Garoppolo and Goff are still really too young. So we got 8 quarterbacks so far. Brady. Big Ben. Okay. And then I will take Deshaun Watson. Luck is hurt, so he doesn't count. So that's 11 quarterbacks. And then the AFC West, I'll take him over any quarterback in that division right now, as much as I like Phillip Rivers. So Alex Smith arguably is a fringe top 10 quarterback for me. Okay. And it's just with Alex Smith, like I said, he's just got this whole little mantra of being a guy who throws short yardage and isn't great, but I don't like it. All right, I don't like it. I think he's a whole lot better than we give him credit for. I honestly do. Okay. And fact of the matter is, you add Alex Smith, he's got weapons. Okay, he really does. I think putting Darius Geis behind him is probably the best thing you could have done for him. And I like the team he's got there as much as weird as it sounds. Okay, he had Tyreek Hill, all those guys in Kansas City. I think he's gonna thrive with guys like Jameson Crowder. Okay, and the other guys I got there, guys like Vernon Davis. If Jordan Reed could stay healthy, which I'm not counting on at all. All right, Josh Dotson, I think is gonna be solid with him. I like what the Redskins have done. Okay, and I think they're going to be a very, very surprising team this year to some. To me, no. If the Redskins come out and play well, I won't be surprised because I really am counting on them playing well. All right, but nonetheless, we'll see what ends up happening. So, and they got Paul Richardson too, who I forgot they added. Paul Richardson is that one guy who's always good for a big play about once or twice every game. All right, so we'll see about that. But nonetheless, let's go through their schedule. Okay, and we'll do the wins and losses. Let's see, they got week 1. They got the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. I'm going Washington, winning. That's 1-0. Against the Colts, I'll go Washington, 2-0. Against the Packers, I got the Packers week 3, 2-1. Saints, week 4 in New Orleans. That's a win by the Saints, 2-2. Panthers at home, I'll go Washington, 3-2. Cowboys at home, I will go Washington, 4-2. In New York, week 7 in New York. I will go New York wins that. That's 4-3. Then they got the Falcons. I'll say that's 4-4. At Tampa Bay, 5-4. In Dallas, 5-5. At Philly, 5-6. Against the Giants, 6-6. In Jacksonville, 6-7. At Tennessee, 8-7? 7-7? I got this mixed up. I skipped the Titans game or Texans game. So I got them beating the Cardinals 1-0. Colts 2-0. Packers 2-1. Saints 2-2. Panthers, I said 2-3, I believe it was 3-2. I think they said 3-2 there since they're at home. Against Dallas 4-2. Against the Giants 4-3. Falcons 4-4. Tampa Bay 5-4. Texans at home, I'll go 6-4. At Dallas 6-5. At Philly 6-6 versus the Giants at home 7-6. Against the Jags 7-7. Against the Titans 8-7. And I'll give them that Week 17 game against the Eagles at home 9-7. So right now I have the Washington Redskins going 9-7. That's a 2-win improvement. Could go either way. I see them winning anywhere from 7 to 9 games right there. All right, it's a pretty solid year, and that's a year where you'll be competing for the wild card. Will it happen? Who knows? These are all way too early picks, but nonetheless, I do like the team Washington has. So that's all I got to say about them. Next up, we're going to be talking about the New York Football Giants, so stay tuned for that, and I will be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. All right, like I said in the first segment, this will be a Monday through Friday show, so get ready because the episodes are coming at you hot. All right. Also, for the first segment, we talked about the Washington Redskins. I like their Darius Guice pick. I think that was my favorite pick by them. All right. I also like Payne, but I like Guice that much more. And I pretty much talked about Alex Smith a bit, talked about the team they got, and I got them going 9-7. Again, this is all way too early, okay? You can take this with a grain of salt. It's perfectly fine with me, but nonetheless, I think Washington's going to be a surprising team this year. I don't think people are giving them enough credit for what they've done, all right? And I might just be, maybe I'm just overrating Alex Smith a bit, because it seems I'm in the minority as far as thinking of him as a very good quarterback in this league. But nonetheless, I think he's going to do some good things with that team. All right, and this NFC East division is to be very good this season, okay? And I'm looking at the Giants' schedule right now, and as much as I think that they're going to be a decent team, I'm not sure really how many wins they get here, okay? So let's talk Giants, and then we'll pick their games at the end of the segment, all right? So the Giants, going into the draft, had one question, okay? You're taking a quarterback. You going to replace Jason Pierre-Paul, or are you going to take Saquon Barkley? Okay. And going into the draft, I mean, I think I was on the side of taking a quarterback. Okay. I mean, Eli, he's got about 2 more years left on his deal, probably 2 more years left in the NFL. All right. Isn't the same quarterback that he once was. I think that's fair to say. Okay. And I mean, I am the number one Eli Manning fan. I do think that he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I definitely think I am in the minority there. But you check the stats. He's got 2 Super Bowls, top 7 in both passing touchdowns and passing yards. I don't think he's top 20 interceptions too, but it seems like most of the guys on that top 20 list for interceptions are Hall of Famers. So I guess maybe it's a little bit of a good thing. Kind of like Kobe missing all the shots. Missing the most shots in NBA history. All right. But nonetheless, all right, that was the question. And like I said, if it's me, I probably go with a quarterback. I mean, they could have very well taken Sam Darnold if they wanted to, since the Browns ended up going Baker Mayfield. But they ended up making the safe pick, okay? Saquon Barkley, I feel, was the safest pick you could make if you were the Giants, okay? The one where you really can't mess up there. All right, and the Giants have really had trouble finding that every down back behind Eli. Okay, first time they won the Super Bowl with Eli, it was Brandon Jacobs, and I think, it was Ahmad Bradshaw the second time. All right. But, I mean, those guys, like Brandon Jacobs was there for a while. Ahmad Bradshaw, he wasn't really there too long. Okay? It wasn't really, as productive as you wanted him to be for too long. All right? Then it went to guys like Orleans Darkwa and a bunch of other guys that are now not there. Now, you got arguably the best player in the draft. okay, and Saquon Barkley. And I think this is what Eli has needed for so long. And if you think about it, all right, those 2 Super Bowl years, and I'm not going out and saying that the Giants are winning the Super Bowl this year, but hear me out. All right. Brandon Jacobs was a very good running back that year. They won the Super Bowl against the Patriots when they knocked off the Patriots and took away their undefeated season. Okay. Ahmad Bradshaw was a very good running back this season. They beat the Patriots the second time. Okay. So what I'm getting at here is both times that they won Super Bowls there, they had very solid production from their running backs. So, again, I'm not going out and saying that they're going to go out and win the Super Bowl this year, but I'm just pointing out a similarity. All right, the fact of the matter is, as good a prospect or player that everyone says Saquon Barkley is, we've never seen him take a snap in the NFL. Okay, Saquon Barkley very well could end up being a bust. All right. And you could say that about every single player in this draft. I don't think you can go out and say that, oh yeah, this guy's going to be a stud for sure, because, fact of the matter is, it's a whole different ballgame going from college to the NFL. All right. You're not playing in the Big Ten anymore. You're playing in the NFC East, the NFC, and you're playing for AFC East team, AFC teams year after year. Game speeds up. Game gets more physical. Okay? So there's a difference. But nonetheless, I do think that Saquon Barkley was the safest pick. I think that Bradley Chubb would have been a good pick too. But nonetheless, like I said, you can't go wrong with Saquon. Alright, so they take Saquon number 1. They take Will Hernandez in round 2 with the second pick of round 2. Offensive guard out of University of Texas, El Paso. I think that's a great pick too. Offensive line help, you can't go wrong there at all. Lorenzo Carter, linebacker out of Georgia, I think was a very good pick. Then in round 3 picks later, they take B.J. Hill out of North Carolina State, defensive tackle. Then they do end up taking a quarterback in the draft. They take Kyle Lauletta, quarterback out of Richmond. And it seems that besides Mason Rudolph, Lauletta probably was the best mid-round quarterback you could get. Okay, and it seems like it's going to come down to Lauletta or Davis Webb as the backup for this Giants team this season. All right. And Davis Webb, I believe he came out of Cal, right? Davis Webb he was a quarterback after Goff. Davis Webb has got an arm on him, but it's just a matter of, he's just got an arm. All right. Yeah, so he went to Berkeley. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know. I haven't really seen Lauletta play too much at Richmond, okay, because of the fact that it is Richmond. But Pat Shurmur does have a way of getting the best out of his players. We saw that with him doing it with Case Keenum. Okay, so I'm sure that Davis Webb or Lauletta could turn out to be decent quarterbacks. But the thing is, once Eli's gone, and let's say none of these guys turn out well, everyone's always going to point back to this draft and say, oh, but you could have had Darnold. Oh, but you could have had Allen. Oh, but you could have had Rosen. Oh, but you could have took Rudolph. Oh, but you could have took Jackson. Okay? So as far as the Giants not taking a quarterback till round 4, this could be something that haunts them, but I'm not ready to get on that ship yet, because the fact of the matter, we've never seen these guys take snaps. All right? For all we know, Kyle Lauletta could end up being the best quarterback in this draft class. All right? And that's just the way it goes sometimes. But nonetheless, now it's pretty much what's going on with Odell Beckham Jr. Are they going to be paying him a big deal? And where is he currently at as far as his contract? Let's see. Let's take a look at that right now. All right. So Odell Beckham Jr., he's still on his rookie deal. He's on the final year of his rookie deal, actually. All right. And Odell Beckham Jr., I think, is a top 5 receiver when healthy. Okay? He's in that conversation with Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown, and Mike Thomas. All right? Yes, Mike Thomas is a top 5 receiver. And yes, I do think Mike Thomas is better than A.J. Green. Okay? But nonetheless, Odell Beckham Jr. is coming off of a season-ending ankle injury, I believe it was. So now it's just a matter of, I believe he did show. He's one of the guys who did show up at OTAs for the Giants. Okay? But come training camp, will he hold out for a deal? All right? Or is he going to pretty much bet on himself? If I'm Odell Beckham Jr., I understand that the media is starting to turn him into the new Terrell Owens as far as a diva. All right? But I would not really be mad at the fact if he did skip out on training camp just to get a new deal. Okay? Because fact of the matter is, job security is the best security, and you got to get paid. All right? You don't want one of those season-ending injuries again. But it seems like with him coming to OTAs, he is betting on himself. Okay? And I think that's a nice little, I don't want to say PR move because I'm sure he is out there because he wants to be out there, but nonetheless, it kind of helps his image a bit. All right? But as far as the Giants go, I mean, I like the team they got out there. I like Eli at quarterback. Obviously, I don't think he was what he once was, but I still think he's a very good quarterback. All right? Saquon Barkley's going to be the day one starter there. You get Sterling Shepard, Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, maybe they kick the tires on Dez Bryant, who just seems he can't find a job right now. And the defense, I mean, it seems like Eli Apple's finally got his head on straight as far as just not being a locker room distraction anymore. All right, and Eli Apple's got talent. And I think that his secondary and defense is going to be good. All right, and I also like the RJ McIntosh pick in round 5, defensive tackle out of Miami. I think he's going to be a nice little sleeper for them. All right, but nonetheless, I mean, I do think that the Giants are going to be a pretty good team this season as far as their schedule. They got a couple of tough games just from the get. All right, but I mean, Pat Shurmur, he's a very good coach, I think, and I think he's going to have this team playing well. So let's look at their schedule and pick their wins and losses. All right, so for week 1, they got the Jaguars, okay, in New York, but I'm going Jacksonville there. Okay, so that's 0-1. Then they got Dallas. I think that's a Sunday night game right there in Dallas. If it is, I am going to laugh right now. All right, let's see. September 16th, let's over there in my fancy calendar. September 16th, would you look at it? Yes, is a Sunday. So, yeah, they got Sunday night against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. I got New York. All right, New York has pretty much always won at Jerry World ever since they opened it up. So that's 1-1. Then they got the Texans. I'm going to go 1-2. Then they got the Saints, 1-3. At Carolina, 1-4. Versus the Eagles, I will go 2-4. At Atlanta, 2-5. Versus Washington at home, 3-5. At San Francisco, 4-5. Tampa Bay, 5-5. In Philly, 5-6. Versus the Bears, 6-6. At Washington, 6-7. Versus Tennessee, 7-7. At Indianapolis, I'm assuming Andrew Luck's going to be there, 7-8. And I don't see them sweeping the Cowboys, so I'm going to go 7-9 for the Giants this season. It's not great. It's not great at all. But, I mean, the way their schedule is pretty much placed out, it's going to be tough to get a lot of good wins here. All right? But like I said, I mean, they'll go anywhere from probably 6 to 10 wins. Okay? If they're a very good team this season, and they're playing well, they could switch up. Like a loss against in Washington, they could win that. Okay? They could beat the Falcons. So there's games that are winnable, but as of right now, I'm giving them to the home team. All right? So yeah, as of right now, I got the Giants going 7-9, but that is subject to change. So there's that. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking Dallas Cowboys, America's team. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. This is the NFC East edition. All right, we did the AFC East edition last Tuesday, but nonetheless, so far we've talked Redskins and we've talked Giants. Now, we're going to be talking Cowboys. All right. And the Cowboys last season, they went 9-7. Dak Prescott had a down year compared to his rookie year. Okay. Ezekiel Elliott missed 6 games, and that hurt him big time. All right. Ezekiel Elliott is what makes this team run. Okay. Dak Prescott, I think, is so far in his first 2 years, I think is a lesser version of Alex Smith. All right. I don't think Dak Prescott has a big arm, and I think that he's a little too cautious as far as him playing at the quarterback position. Okay, which necessarily isn't a bad thing because he's not going to turn the ball over. All right, he could end up just being like Sam Bradford, just healthy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because Sam Bradford, when healthy, is a decent quarterback. All right. But nonetheless, like I said, without Ezekiel Elliott, Dak didn't look good. Okay. He's not a guy, I don't think, that can go out and lead a team on his own. You think he might end, and again, it's early in his career, so I mean, he could just be still developing and all that. I'm not going to go out and say like this is the quarterback that he is and that he's always going to be, but nonetheless, it seems like he needs the help. And like I said, that's not a bad thing because, more so, yeah, you do tend to play better when you got good, solid talent around you. All right? Kind of like with Colin Kaepernick. Dude was one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he's got solid talent around him. But you throw a guy like Jeremy Curley as his number one receiver, you're really not going to do too well. Okay? But nonetheless, like I said, Zeke Elliott missed 6 games because of his suspension. And they end up finishing 9-7. Came close to making the playoffs. I mean, they were in it till the end. But nonetheless, it just didn't happen. All right? The year before that, they went, 13-3, ended up losing to the Packers on a last-second Mason Crosby field goal. All right? And it seems like Dallas' last few years playing Green Bay in the playoffs has just been heartbroken each time. Mason Crosby's kick, and then Dez Bryant. Did he catch it? I think he caught it. Okay. But nonetheless, the refs say he dropped it, so he dropped it. All right. So now here we are, year 3 of Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott's career. What are they going to do? Are they going to play well this season? Who knows? All right. You look at their draft. They take Leighton Vander Esch, round 1, pick 19. Linebacker out of Boise State. That is Sean Lee's replacement right there. All right. Connor Williams, they take him in round 2, offensive guard out of Texas. All right. 3 things in life, death, and the Cowboys taking a offensive lineman in the draft. Round 3, they take Michael Gallup, wide receiver out of Colorado State. Maybe he could be the guy that replaces Dez Bryant. All right. Round 4, they take Dorrance Armstrong Jr., defensive end out of Kansas. Second pick of round 4, they take Dalton Schultz, tight end out of Stanford. Round 5, they take Mike White, quarterback out of Western Kentucky. I'm not sure if he's going to be on the team. Maybe he'll be a practice squad player for them. Round 6, they take Chris Covington, linebacker out of Indiana. Second pick of round 6, they take Cedric Wilson, wide receiver out of Boise State. And then round 7, they take Bo Scarborough, running back out of Alabama. All right. Bo Scarborough could end up being the backup running back for this team, so I don't hate that pick. But I would have liked him to go a little bit more at the secondary in this draft. Okay. I feel like their secondary is kind of weak right now. But nonetheless, I mean, what can you do? All right. But the Vander Esch pick, like I said, it's a pick. Okay. I'm not sure really how I feel about it. I feel like Vander Esch is one of those going to have to go out and prove it to me type players. Okay. But nonetheless, I mean, I think he could end up being a solid player. And like I said, that's the next Sean Lee right there for the Cowboys. At least I'm sure that's what they're thinking. Okay. We mentioned Dez Bryant. He's no longer with the Cowboys. Okay. Guy's even struggling to find work, it seems. And as far as Dez Bryant, I mean, is the consensus around him that he's not a very good receiver? Because, I mean, if you bring in Dez Bryant, you're getting a solid player, I feel. All right? I think the last 2 years with the Cowboys was just a matter of Dak Prescott doesn't like to take risks. Okay? He doesn't want to make the big play. He's going to slice you and dice you and get down the field with these 5-yard throws. All right? Tony Romo was a gunslinger. He's willing to take those chances with Dez Bryant. Okay? So I feel like the way that they drew up the offense where it's more centered around Ezekiel Elliott and fit to Dak Prescott's strengths, that doesn't benefit a guy like Dez Bryant. Okay? At one point in time, Dez Bryant was the best player on this offense, but times have changed, and honestly, Dez Bryant doesn't really affect wins and losses for me leaving the Cowboys. Like, Dez Bryant on the Cowboys and Dez Bryant not on the Cowboys isn't really much of a difference to me there. Okay? I feel like it's still the same Cowboys team. Like, taking away Ezekiel Elliott from the Cowboys, yeah, that affects their wins and losses. Okay? Same with Dak Prescott. But it's a matter of, poor Dez Bryant just can't seem to find work. Turned down a multi-year deal from the Baltimore Ravens because he wanted to bet on himself and take a one-year deal and try and prove it for a bigger deal. But it just seems like no one's biting right now. And I'm sure he's probably going to get one of those deals where, you hope to never see it, but maybe a wide receiver gets hurt and Dez Bryant comes in, swoops in, and tries to do something there. All right? If I'm the 49ers, I'm looking into Dez Bryant. I'm sure they love Marquise Goodwin, Pierre Garçon, and the guys they got there, but none of them are better than Dez Bryant. And that's just the fact of the matter there. All right? Team like Tennessee could use him. And let's see, what other fits would there be? Tennessee. Green Bay could, but I think they're out of that sweepstakes. I don't know. Maybe there's not too much of a market for him out there. But nonetheless, yeah, they lost him, and now it's just a matter of who's going to step up. You brought in Allen Hurns. All right, you drafted Michael Gallup. Seems like Terrence Williams really isn't having the best offseason. All right. So they're really going to need someone to step up into that number one receiver role, but I'm not really sure who it is. It's not going to be Cole Beasley because the guy's a slot receiver. All right. And that's what kind of scares me about the Cowboys is that they don't have a number one guy right now. All right. Maybe they should have kept Dez Bryant. But it seems like maybe the coaches were fed up with him and they just didn't want him anymore. All right. But nonetheless, you saw already. I picked the Giants to go 7-9. Redskins to go to 9-7. It's going to be tough to do something in this division. All right. It really is. Okay. And looking at the Cowboys schedule, let me look over it real quick. They got some tough games in here. They really do. And the season really all depends on Dak Prescott stepping up compared to last year. Okay, you're going to have Ezekiel Elliott back, so it's going to be a big help. But Dak Prescott's going to have to be a big boy here. And he's going to need to play good football at the quarterback position because Ezekiel Elliott can't do it all on his own. All right, so that's one thing that kind of worries me with the Cowboys there. But nonetheless, let's go through the schedule and pick the games. All right, so they got Panthers week 1 in Carolina. I'm going to go... I don't know. Do I think that this is going to be a Dallas team where they're great? I think it's going to be a Dallas team where they kind of look like how they did last year. I'm going to think that they're going to be a decent team this year. I don't know. The wide receiver position scares me. All right. They also lost Jason Witten too, so who's going to step up there? I'm just going to go off of heart here, okay? Just what I think in my heart, how they're going to do week to week. At Carolina week 1, I'll go Dallas. Okay, 1-0. Against the Giants week 2, I picked the Giants to win that game, so that's 1-1. In Seattle, I'll go 2-1. Against Detroit, 3-1. At Houston, 3-2. Versus Jacksonville, 3-3. Versus the Redskins at home, I think I picked the Redskins in that one. I'll go 3-4. Versus Tennessee, 4-4. At Philly, 4-5. At Atlanta, 5-5. 6-5 versus the Redskins. 7-5 versus the Saints. 8-5 versus the Eagles. 9-5 versus the Colts. 10-5 versus the Bucks. I guess I got the Cowboys going 11-5, winning Week 17 against the Giants. All right. So, yeah, I guess I got the Cowboys going 11-5. And again, I mean, I guess their wins for me ranges from 11 to 7, honestly. It all depends on how Dak Prescott does this year. He could be the best. He could be the worst. But who knows? All right. So, yeah, I guess as of right now, I got the Cowboys going 11-5, and I kind of surprised myself there. But there is a stretch late into the season where, I mean, they got 3 straight home games against decent teams, but those home games are going to matter. All right. I mean, the Reds versus Washington versus Saints versus the Eagles, Colts, Bucks, Giants. I mean, I think that's where they're going to make most of their money there as far as wins and losses. So we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking defending Super Bowl champs. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. This is the NFC East edition. So far, first segment, we've talked Washington Redskins. Second segment, we talked New York Giants. And then the third segment, we talked Dallas Cowboys. All right, I got the Redskins going 9-7, the Giants going 7-9, and then the Cowboys going 11-5. All right. And I guarantee you that none of my predictions are going to come out to be right. All right. There's just a little range I guess I got them in right there. I mean, the Redskins could win anywhere from 7 to 9 wins, I think. Giants could go from anywhere from 6 to 10. And then Dallas from, I guess, 7 to 11 is what I got them at. All right. But nonetheless, they play in the division as the Super Bowl champ Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. First time anyone's ever been able to say that. All right. Well, I mean, first time I've been able to say that, I guess. I mean, before that, it was always just, I guess, oh, they lost in the NFC Championship again with Donovan McNabb. Oh, they lost to the Patriots to the Super Bowl. But no, now they're Super Bowl champs. All right. They finally got it. And one thing with the Eagles, okay, it is tough not only to make it back into the playoffs after winning the Super Bowl, but just repeating. Okay. And one thing that I've liked about the Eagles is that they've kept most of their core team intact, but they've also added a lot of good players. Okay? And what I mean by that, trading for Michael Bennett. Okay? Had some injury issues last season, but nonetheless is a very good defensive lineman. Okay? You're adding Michael Bennett to a defensive line where you could argue was already one of the best in football, if not the best. All right. You added Daryl Worley. Traded Torrey Smith over there for Daryl Worley. All right. Daryl Worley isn't some top-notch cornerback or anything like that, but adding depth there helps out the position. Okay. They re-signed Nigel Bradham. Perfect. All right. That's great. Okay. Nigel Bradham, starting linebacker. You keep your core guys there. That's what I mean. Signed Corey Nelson, linebacker from the Broncos, but that's more of a depth move. Signed Haloti Ngata. Again, Haloti Ngata isn't what he once was with the Ravens or even with Detroit for those couple of years. But nonetheless, I mean, you can't have too much help on the defensive line there. Okay? This is like when LeBron James and Chris Bosh went to the Miami Heat to go play with Wade. You saw all these guys pretty much taking minimum contracts just to go play it. Some good veterans. That's Haloti Ngata right there. Okay? They're not going to need him to be an everyday starter, an every down type defensive tackle. Come in on situations. Okay? He's been kind of injured the last couple of years, but nonetheless, he's going to have a lesser workload. I think that's going to be better for him. Okay? Signed Mike Wallace. I can already see it. Carson Wentz throwing bombs to Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace can have a good year. Alshon Jeffrey, Mike Wallace. I think Mike Wallace is an upgrade over Torrey Smith. Then you got Nelson Aguilar in the slot, who played extremely well this season. All of these free agent signings for the Eagles have looked good. All right? I like them all. The Eagles are a very smart team. Got a smart front office, and they got a genius coaching staff. Okay? Then you look over at the draft. They got their first pick in round 2. They take Dallas Goedert. All right. Is it Goddard or Goedert? I'm going to say Dallas Goedert. All right. Tight end out of South Dakota State. Him, Mike Gesicki, and Hayden Hurst were the top three tight ends of this draft. And honestly, you could make the argument that one is better than the other. You could make the argument that Mike Gesicki is the best tight end in the draft. You could make the argument that Hayden Hurst is the best tight end in the draft. And you could make the argument that Dallas Goedert is the best tight end in the draft. Okay, so I have no problem with them taking him there. Another depth move in the 4th round, taking Avonte Maddox, cornerback out of Pittsburgh. Then they take Josh Sweat with their second pick of the 4th round, defensive end out of Florida State. And they take offensive tackles Matt Pryor and Jordan Mailata in round 6 and round 7. Okay. I think the Eagles are a playoff team this year. I think, honestly, they've gotten better this year, given the offseason that they've had. It's just a matter of keeping guys healthy till week 1. And speaking of being healthy, what's Carson Wentz at? Okay? Carson Wentz blew out his knee, what was it, week 14 against the Rams last season, week 15? Can't remember exactly which one. I think it was week 14. Okay? And now it's just a matter of when is he going to be back. All right? And if I'm the Eagles, I got to realize that I have the luxury of having 2 very solid quarterbacks on my roster. Okay, one where if he didn't blow out his knee, he probably wins MVP last year. Talking about Carson Wentz. Okay, and the other being Nick Foles, where he went out and won me a Super Bowl. All right, it wasn't more so where the Eagles were carrying Nick Foles, and that's why they won the Super Bowl. Nick Foles probably had the game of his life in that Super Bowl. The throws that he was making in that Super Bowl were ridiculous. Okay, I wasn't a Nick Foles believer until that Super Bowl game. The dude played amazing. All right. But nonetheless, I mean, if I'm the Eagles, I'm literally waiting till Carson Wentz is 100%. All right. Whether that be week 4, week 5. I mean, week 4 is probably when I'd end up bringing him back. If I'm the Eagles, I'm telling Carson Wentz, you know what? We got a great guy behind you. When you're ready to go, you'll be the starter, no doubt. All right. Just get healthy. There's no need to rush Carson Wentz back. Nick Foles obviously can do the job. All right. And I think even then, so let's say Carson Wentz just takes the year off just because he wants to just rest it completely and be mentally ready and all that. Eagles are still the best team in the NFC East with Nick Foles as quarterback. Okay? And I don't really think that's up for debate there. All right? They got a very good team, and when you put good players around Nick Foles, he's going to thrive. All right? But nonetheless, I mean, like I said, I think my favorite offseason move for them was getting Michael Bennett, or it's the Mike Wallace pickup. I think Mike Wallace is going to pretty much not have a career year, but he's going to show flashes of the old Mike Wallace there. He's going to have a real solid year, I think. Probably the best year he's had since he's left Pittsburgh. Actually, I don't know, because, I mean, in Miami, he did have a career high in touchdowns one year and a career high in receptions that year. So I think he's going to have a very, very good year. We'll say that. All right? So, I mean, yeah, it's just a matter of don't rush Carson Wentz. Okay? You want to make sure that's your future right there. You want to make sure he's completely healthy before he even touches the field. All right, Carson or Nick Foles knows how to do the job there. But like I said, I mean, the biggest thing with the Eagles this offseason was keeping their team together and getting better. Okay, and they did that with getting guys like Haloti Ngata, all right, Michael Bennett, re-signing Nigel Bradham, and bringing in Mike Wallace. Okay, and then I think Dallas Goedert, and Zach Ertz is going to be a nice little 1-2 duo at the tight end position. So we'll see what they end up going on. But nonetheless, let's look at the Eagles' schedule and pick their games. So let's see. Week 1. They got the Falcons. I believe that, it's Thursday night. I got the Eagles winning that one, 1-0. Week 2, they got the Bucks, 2-0. Then they got the Colts, 3-0. Titans in Tennessee, 4-0. Okay. Then they got the Vikings at home. Carson Wentz should be around at that time. I'm going to go 5-0. Okay. I can't remember exactly, but I believe I had the Giants winning at home against Philly. I'm going to go 5-1 versus the Panthers, 6-1 versus the Jags, 7-1. Cowboys, 8-1. Saints, 8-2. Giants, 9-2. Washington, 10-2. At Dallas, 10-3. At the Rams, 10-4. Texans, 11-4. Washington, 11-5. I'm gonna give them that Rams game. I'm gonna say they go 12-4 this season. Okay, 12-4. That's one game worse than what they did the year before that. And again, I mean, these predictions are gonna end up being wrong. There's no way I get them right as far as the wins and losses. But like I said, it can go from anywhere of 13 wins to 10 wins. I'd say. All right, they're gonna be a very good team this year, and I mean, they're gonna be Super Bowl contenders once again. So we'll end up seeing how it all ends up. So I guess as of right now, I got the Eagles going 12-4, Cowboys going 11-5, Washington going 9-7, and then the Giants going 7-9. That all could change. So we're going to wrap it up here. All right. Again, this was the NFC East edition. We talked about the Redskins in segment 1. We talked about the Giants in segment 2, Cowboys in segment 3, and then the Eagles in segment 4. NFC East is going to be a very good division this year, so we'll see how it all plays out. But nonetheless, like I said earlier to begin the show, we're going to be here Monday through Friday, so the show's going to be every day. All right, tomorrow, it's going to be a bit of a surprise about which division we're talking about tomorrow. So I'll save that for then. You'll know when you open it up and download the podcast. All right. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Football Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow, so I will talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.